to the Work Placement Interviews mini-series, Episode 4, Interview Questions. Episode 4, Types of Interview Questions. Commonly asked interview questions help the interviewer gain a sense of your understanding of yourself and the placement role. These kinds of questions include, "Tell me about yourself," or "What do you know about us?" The next type of questions are called behavioral and situational questions. Their purpose is to use storytelling to get an idea of how you go about your work and solve problems. An example is, "Tell me about a time that you used creative problem solving." I'll give you an example of how to answer this question in just a moment using the situation, action, and result method, otherwise known as SAR. There are other types of questions as well, including industry-specific questions to get an idea of how well you understand the current challenges and trends in your profession, and stressful or tricky questions to catch you off guard and have you react in unpredictable or sometimes undesirable circumstances. For example, when you lose your temper, how do you pull yourself together and calm down? Or why are manhole covers round? Career Services has a great tip sheet with plenty of examples on how to answer these kinds of questions. And now I'm going to go back here and provide a sample response to the problem-solving question I mentioned earlier using the situation, action, result method. First, I'll describe the situation. When I worked at Red Lobster as a hostess, the weekends were really busy and we would have lineups out the door. The customers waiting would get agitated and their children were very disruptive. Sometimes customers waiting would leave. Then, describe the action that you took. I was concerned this was having a negative impact on the customers waiting and the customers already dining. So I asked my manager if we could purchase coloring books and crayons to keep children occupied and if we could offer a free appetizer to anyone who had to wait longer than 10 minutes. And then finally, explain the result of that action. As a result, the customers were quite happy to wait and the children were quiet while they waited. We increased our sales since no one left the lineup or complained about waiting. I was nominated Employee of the Month for my idea, and even after I left, they continued to use my idea. Using the SAR method ensures you explain not just what you did, but also what the outcome and value was. Illegal questions. The Ontario Human Rights Code prohibits interview questions related to age, marital status, nationality, race, and disability, amongst other areas. If an employer asks a personal question unrelated to the job, you can 1. Address the real concern or intent of the question, 2. Answer directly if you feel comfortable doing so, or 3. Refuse to answer the question or ask the employer to explain the relevance. If you're unsure about what an employer can and cannot ask you in an interview, or you're asked an illegal question during your placement interview, consult with your placement coordinator, career advisor, or accessibility consultant on what to do. Visit the Career Center or Diversity, Equity, and Human Rights Services office for additional employment information about the Human Rights Code and the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. This concludes our video on placement interview preparation. Hope you found it helpful. If you do still have questions, please meet with your placement coordinator, accessibility consultant, or your career advisor.